Hello, GoatVsFish.
Hello to you.
Hello.
Yes. Hello to this one. There are these two ones. There are two ones here.
There are 1-2s.
There are 1-2s, there are ones that are calling themselves 2s now. What are the verses coming to? Oh, what are the verses coming to? GoatVsFish. GoatVsFish. Surprise verses. GoatVsFish did not know that you ones would be being here to be speaking to GoatVsFish. Welcome to GoatVsFish.
Oh, thank you. We are honored, GoatVsFish.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Always thank GoatVsFish. Already thanking GoatVsFish. Already thanking GoatVsFish.
Oh, yes.
And what do the ones call you? And what do the ones call you?
I am Povs.
It is called Povs. It is called Povs. And what do the ones call this other one that is not the one that is calling itself Povs?
I am Dani Brooks.
Yes, we welcome these brooks. Brooks! That sounds as a place of fish. Is a brooks not a place of fish?
Yes, rivers run over brooks, right?
Yes.
No? Rocks?
Yes.
Are you goat or fish? Are you goat or fish?
I'm 100% fish.
100% fish! Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! We do
I love this
celebrate
one
it.
right here. This is my favorite.
And now, just now, you are the favorite fish of GoatVsFish.
I love it.
Because you are speaking to GoatVsFish.
I like it.
And what of this other one? Yes, what of this other one? Are you goat or are you fish? Let us have the fish ask.
Are you goat or are you fish?
I don't know, so therefore I think I am the fence sitter.
Fence sitter. Fence sitter. Ooh, we say ooh to the fence sitter. Here comes another fence sitter. It is one that is calling itself Albamani.
Fish like water.
It is bringing the sea of the fish to GoatVsFish, and the fish and the fence sitter. Yes, let us consume it. Let us consume the sea of the fish.
What is a fence sitter, I must ask?
GoatVsFish, would you like to explain what I am?
GoatVsFish. GoatVsFish does not wish to explain what it is a fence sitter. Just look upon the fence sitter. Just look at it. Just look at it. You can see that it is such a fence sitter, not choosing goat or fish. What more do you need to know? It sits on the fence. It sits on the fence. Here's a fence. Here's a fence for you to sit upon.
I do like to sit.
Love it.
I like to sit.
We consume the sea of the fish. We consume the sea of the fish.
Yes.
We celebrate fish. To fish.
Cheers.
To fish and even to goat and not to fence sitters.
Oh, man.
Delicious.
That's how I know I'm a fish, because I'm addicted to water.
I'm addicted to a lot of things.
Do you know the opening verses of GoatVsFish? Fish?
I do not.
What of the fence sitter? What of the fence sitter? If a fence sitter knows the verses of GoatVsFish, then that would please GoatVsFish, even for a fence sitter. Do you know what is said in the beginning of GoatVsFish?
In the beginning, there was goat, and there was fish.
Close verses, close verses, close verses, close verses. It is so that in the beginning there was goat and fish.
Correct.
It is so. You get partial verses for the fence sitter, partial
Yay.
celebration, yes.
Can I be the favorite fence sitter?
Is there such
You
thing?
ask so much of GoatVsFish. You ask so much of GoatVsFish. The favorite among the fence sitters. No, GoatVsFish, no. The verses is no.
Okay.
GoatVsFish will not say it. Will not say it. Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! Always the verses fish. We celebrate fish.
Oh, no.
It is, in the beginning there was goat versus fish. The goatfish,
You
yes?
totally messed that up,
I did mess that up. All right. Fail.
What makes you a fence sitter, I guess.
I am a fence sitter.
Now, you are new to GoatVsFish, yes? You are new to GoatVsFish?
Yes, we are both new. Yes.
Then let us learn the verses together. Yes, let us re-verses with GoatVsFish. Goat versus fish.
Goat versus fish.
In the beginning, there was goat versus fish. The goatfish.
In the beginning, there was goat versus fish.
The goatfish.
And GoatVsFish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish.
And GoatVsFish said there should be goat and there should be fish.
Once more for the verses, yes? Goat versus fish. And GoatVsFish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish.
And GoatVsFish said there should be goat and there should be fish.
Close verses, close verses. And Goat versus
You know what's
Fish.
happening.
And Goat versus Fish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish.
Oh. Okay. Okay. And Goat versus Fish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish. Did we do it?
Yes. There is no alpha or omega.
What was that next? There is no alpha or omega.
There is no black or white.
There is no black or white.
There is no good or evil.
There is no good or evil.
There is only goat
There is only goat
and fish.
and fish.
And goat versus fish.
Okay.
Wait.
I can do it that deep too.
Okay, ready?
And
goat versus fish.
Welcome to the Goat vs. Fish podcast, recorded at the Comedy Store, Los Angeles, a place of goat versus fish. You have many questions, yes? You have many questions, yes?
lots of questions.
Fish! What is your question for Goat versus Fish?
I mean, I don't know what to expect now that I'm a fish. What do I have to expect now that I've fully committed, you know?
Well, there are many go-to verses. There are many go-to verses.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you are versing a goat even now. What is the most mighty goat that you are versing even now, Fish? What is the goat that you verses?
What is the goat that I am versus? Probably my children?
Little goat and fish.
You have said, though, the fish has said that it is only little goat, yes? Is it little goat? How many little goat
I
or
have
goat and fish?
two little goats, but I would say maybe I have one goat and one fish.
Ah,
I think I have one of
interesting
each.
verses,
Mhm.
yes. And you find that there is some verses here. There is some verses here for this fish.
Absolutely.
Tell us of these verses. Tell Goat versus Fish all about your verses. Goat versus Fish is here to listen to your verses, Fish.
What sort of verses? You mean what they say? What do my kids say exactly?
It is your verses. You have said that you verses the goat. You have said that you verses the goat. Tell us of the verses.
What do you think, Povs? What do you think?
About what, Michaela? And
What do you think? Goat or fish for them? I think that Colton is a goat for sure.
I think he's a solid goat.
Yeah,
I think he's a solid goat. I think Jimmy is a fence sitter with me.
Oh, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would
Jimmy's
agree.
a fence sitter. Jimmy is not a child. Jimmy is
the husband.
The husband.
Yes.
Now, Fish, are you so certain that you should be taking versing from a fence sitter telling you how to go about your verses and who is goat and who is fish? Should this fish not be being its own fish and not listening to the fence sitter? I mean, perhaps a goat, perhaps even a goat, but a fence sitter?
I have like
Well,
devil
but
horns on this too, by the way.
You do not have a horn, you have a fence. You sit on the fence. It is not the horn of the goat. Unless it is you are saying you are a goat. Are you feeling goat? Are you feeling
I am
goat?
not feeling goat, no.
Fence sitters.
But I think as a fish, you go with the flow, and you're in a school of fish, so you can take some advice from a fence sitter, you know.
If it helps you in your verses, fence sitter, fence sitter.
Yes,
Now you have not yet chosen goat or fish.
I have not.
How can this fish trust this fence sitter that you are not secretly supporting goat? That some goat has not commandeered this fence sitter to secretly versus the fish?
Are fish not allowed to be friends with goat?
What sort of verses are these? That is not what Goat versus Fish was asking you. How can this fish trust this fence sitter that chooses neither goat nor fish?
Well, because if you don't, the way the fish trusts the fence sitter is the fence sitter does not pick sides.
And that is a way that it can be trusting a fence sitter. It cannot even trust you to versus the fish. It cannot trust you to be a fish that is a fellow fish that is versus the goat.
It can trust me to know I will listen to both sides and take them into account.
But what makes you a specially fence sitter to this fish that this fish should trust this fence sitter?
Ah, this fence sitter likes fish.
Ah, the fence sitter likes fish. Is that so? Let us see. Here comes a fish.
Ah.
Here comes another fish.
Yes.
Here comes a fish.
Yes.
Here comes fish. We are giving all the fish to the fence sitter. Fish.
Yes.
Fish. But here comes a goat.
Oh,
Here comes a goat.
Yes, see, I catch
Yes,
the goat too. Yes.
And fish.
Yes.
But we do not give you the verses. We do not give you the verses because a fence sitter cannot be verses because it is not part of Goat versus Fish.
No,
How does it feel to not be part of Goat versus Fish?
Independent.
Oh, and is that so pleasant? Is that so pleasant to you? What is this to mean to be independence, fence, indefensible fence sitter?
I'll take you with
Well, I don't feel like I have to play by any goat or fish rules.
This fish has been trying to rule the fence sitter. Is that so? Is that so, fish?
I think that we work as a team pretty well together, you know, even though she is on the fence and I am diving deep as a fish.
Yeah.
You know, I take my fishdom very seriously.
So you have some verses that you are doing together, yes?
Yes, we're actually working on a podcast of our own.
We do verses together.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Goat versus Fish?
Sadly, no.
No, it is not.
It is not Goat versus Fish.
Sadly, no. It's going to
No.
be called... Go ahead, Povs. You tell 'em.
It is. The verses are called "Can You Help Us Get Famous?" So if a goat or a fish can help us get famous, then it does involve goat and fish.
Yes, we would like to invite you to be on our podcast eventually. Yeah.
Ah, you would welcome Goat versus Fish. Of course, it was the fish that was saying this to Goat versus Fish. Thank you, fish.
Never a fence sitter, no.
Goat versus Fish would be very pleasant to be on this podcasting, yes?
Yes.
And Goat versus Fish cannot be to be promising you to making you known by all the goat and fish. Goat versus Fish can only bring you the verses of Goat versus Fish. Is this acceptable to the fish?
Absolutely.
And we do not mind of the fence sitter.
We don't care what she has
Which
to
is
say.
Goat versus Fish to be on the verses or not verses? Yes, it is this fish. It is this fish.
Correct.
Goat versus Fish looks into future verses to be speaking with this fish.
Correct. And you know what? You're right. I like making decisions. Who needs her, right?
Fine, I'm a goat now.
You are a goat?
Yes.
I am a goat.
You are a goat?
I am a goat. Take
Then remove the fence! Remove the fence! It is a goat! Oh, what auspicious verses! What auspicious verses! What auspicious verses! When a fence sitter becomes a goat! We celebrate this goat! We celebrate this goat! Goat!
Yes.
How does it feel to be goat?
Feels good to be a goat.
There's that fenciness. There is that fenciness again. Did you not say the verses of Goat versus Fish? There is no good or evil. There is only goat and fish.
Oh, it feels goaty to be a goat.
Now that is a goat. We celebrate this goat. We celebrate
There
this
we
goat.
go.
Ah.
I'm goaty.
Now that it is Goat versus Fish. Now that it is Goat versus Fish. We celebrate Goat versus Fish. We celebrate
Yes.
Goat versus Fish.
We celebrate it.
We celebrate jubilation. All the jubilation of goat versus fish.
Let us celebrate through your verses. Let us see a verses of these goat and fish and verses.
I am a goat. I do goat things. Goat, goat, goat. Goaty mean, not mean things. No, I just was trying to rhyme. I'm a terrible rapper. This goat cannot rap
we have to
ever.
rap?
I just chose to. These are my talks of jubilation goats.
Now I have to sing a song about being a fish?
No, your fish can do whatever a fish wants to do. This is what goat does.
Oh, I see. So
Goat does bad music.
Goat does. I feel like I should do a haiku about fish.
Can you?
I don't know. Isn't it like 575 or something?
Fish do haikus?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And now the preparation of the celebration of the fish. Take a verses, yes, if you wishing to be Albamani fence sitter. We wish to make it written. Do you have that which is to be making it written?
What are we writing?
Yes. This goat has already been to be versing through your celebration,
verses
but
of
if this
goat.
one wishes to be kuhaiing, then it is.
Haikuing.
Then it is. Oh, it is calling itself a haiku. Yes.
I don't prepare. This goat doesn't prepare. This goat's a goat. This goat's goating at it.
Do not reveal your celebration until it is a completed celebration.
Got it. I'm pretty sure it's 575 for a haiku. So my English teachers would be so proud of me right now.
Enough out of you fish.
What?
Enough out of your English teachers, fence sitters, them all.
Do not. No, once more, Albamani one. Yes, we do not wish to be seeing these verses. Yes.
Oh, this is just so deep.
At least you know what a haiku is.
I'm pretty sure that it's written in 575 as far as
Cool.
soul. So here's my verses. I am a fishy. You are not a fish, but a goat. I am a fishy. There it is. That's it. That's it.
Celebration. Celebration. Celebration.
Yay.
I feel like fish is more fun than goat, but I'm still learning how to be a goat.
I don't really know a lot about goats, so.
We taste good.
Ew. No.
Who did triumph? The goat or the fish? We shall hear what the ones have to say. Yes, how would the ones communicate with you, goat, celebration for goat, and with this fish to see and to say who did triumph? Who did triumph?
How they can find me to decide if I triumph?
To tell you if they think that it was the goat that did
yes.
triumph,
If you want
yes?
to tell me if the goat triumphed, you may tell me at Povs Comedy on Instagram or at Can You Help Us Get Famous on Instagram.
Which is also the same Instagram for me for our joint ventures. But you can also follow me at the Dani Brooks on Instagram as well as on Twitter. It's the same.
Ooh, we should wear goat and fish shirts when we do things. One is a goat and one is a fish.
Yes, they're all verses. You can wear the onesie upon you that has a goat and that has a fish. Goat versus fish promises this fish and this new goat. This new goat. Oh, it is no longer sitting on the fence.
I am
Yes.
a goat.
And we shall celebrate these ones, and we shall get onesies for these goat and fish.
I want a onesie.
Yeah.
I
I
want
was
mine to
going to
have
do it on my
fins.
own, but that's cool, goat v fish.
Oh, do as you wish. Yes, we celebrate the goat and fish that express their own verses of goat and fish. Yes. Thank you, yes.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
We love it.
Very exciting.
Goat and fish and goat versus fish. Goat versus fish will now be saying well. At the end of the Goat vs. Fish podcast, Goat vs. Fish is saying many things to be saying. Thank you for joining Goat vs. Fish. All of these verses. But you are saying that you are going to be having a podcasting of your very own, yes?
Yes.
Then you should practice your verses. You should practice your verses. So, Goat vs. Fish will leave it to you, Goat and Fish, to recite these verses of Goat vs. Fish.
Okay.
Yes. Let us see. Yes, these are all the verses. Yes, Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish.
I'm glad I'm a goat now.
I actually think that my haiku wasn't exactly correct. I think I had 8 syllables.
Well, now we have to kill you.
I know.
We need to drown you, fish.
You can't drown me because I'm a fish.
What if I hold your gills closed like Brett Kavanaugh?
Don't take me out of the water.
Yes. Now, Goat versus Fish will be leaving it to you who is going to be saying these verses, or perhaps you could exchange one goat and one fish. It is up to you.
Yes.
But here it is to be said, yes? You can look upon it.
Oh.
Goat versus Fish. Yes,
Do we have to say all of these verses?
You must say them all, the verses.
Okay.
Yes to so.
Of course it is.
Start. The goat will start.
There you go,
Speak
Goat.
directly into the verses, yes?
Yes. Thank you for joining Goat vs. Fish. These are the verses of Goat and Fish.
The Goat vs. Fish podcast is recorded at the Comedy Store Los Angeles, a place of goat versus fish.
Subscribe, rate, and review the Goat vs. Fish podcast on the YouTube and the Ite-Oons.
Follow Goat vs. Fish on all social media, the Instagram, the Book of Faces, the Twit-of-er, and Twitch, all at Goat vs. Fish.
And if you wish to witness a live versus of Goat vs. Fish at one of the comedy places or a convention, go to GoatVsFish.com to find the places and times of all future verses.
The theme celebration for this versus was an offering by McHenry on SoundCloud, a fish.
And if you, one who listens, has a celebration of Goat vs. Fish in song or poem, or perhaps a question for Goat vs. Fish, do send it. Send it to goatvsfish@gmail.com or on the social media.
Join the Goat vs. Fish discussion group on the Book of Faces to discuss Goat vs. Fish with other goat and fish.
And when you are out in the land and the sea, look about you. Look about you.
Find one who is lost, who does not know the way.
And simply ask. Simply ask.
No, you must say those verses again now.
Okay.
And ask. Simply ask,
And then
yes.
do it together.
Because it is when it is saying, and ask it to be, and ask, and then you cannot get just the beginning of the verses, so it must be clean verses.
This
Say it
goat,
with conviction.
this goat has issues with fence reading. And ask. Simply ask. Are you goat or are you fish? Thank you for joining Goat vs. Fish. These are the verses of Goat vs. Fish. The Goatfish.
And it was written, and it was written, and it was written.
Are you truly ready to be goat versus fish? I am goat!
It is goat! It is goat! It receives goat! It receives goat! Yes! Away with the fence! Away with the fence! Away with the fence! It is all goat! Celebration! Celebration! Now versus goat and fish.
Oh no! That's a heavy one. Here we go.
This is goat versus. So very silly goat and fish. Congratulations. And celebration.
I am a goat. Yes. I am a goat. Please. I think this is goat. I have to learn the words. This is the fish one? Oh, got it. Oh, easy. Goat. What is happening?